Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Brandon and you're watching M.O.N.Comics. Been a minute since I put out a recorded and edited video talking about comics and the channel and what's going on. With spooky season just finishing up, I had a whole week of vacation to hang out with my family, which was amazing. And I did a live unboxing and I did my Halloween show, which if you haven't seen that, please go back and check it out. It was a really good time. And just hadn't been getting many comics in, and I really wanted to think about what direction I wanted this channel to go. But before I get to that, let me show you a video from Ryan of Collecting Casually. He sent me this for the Halloween show, and I was so preoccupied with making sure I didn't screw the show up in general, I forgot to put this clip in. So on behalf of Ryan, I apologize, but have one little last taste of spooky season before we move into Thanksgiving and Christmas. So check this clip out.
Hey Brandon, thanks for inviting me to your Halloween live show. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there for the live event, but I wanted to put together a video showing off my 5 favorite Halloween themed comic books. Now, I know you guys are probably having a blast tonight. I'm actually currently out on my back patio, hanging out with the neighborhood friends and family, carving pumpkins and having our own yearly tradition celebration. So that's where I'm at right now and why I couldn't be here. But with that out of the way, let's get right into my books. All right, starting off my list is number 5, and that is Flip number 1 from 1954. Now, Flip is a Rlcomics publication, and I just love the cover on this. It's a horror themed cover, but Flip is definitely a humor-based comic book. Now, I love so many aspects of this cover. You have just the cartoony style. You have the feet hanging from above, indicating, you know, some bodies up there. You've got the snake. You've got the skull and spiders. You've got this guy sitting on the couch, you know, with his gal. He's drinking, looks super nervous. He's sweating. She's the beauty there, getting him to hang around and saying that you'll flip too. I just absolutely love this cover here. All right, next up at number 4 is DC's House of Mystery 174. Now, this issue is when House of Mystery switched over from being superhero type comic books over to horror. And again, this is another cover I absolutely love. I love the color combination of the purple and green. That is always my favorite color combination at Halloween. In fact, our lights out front in the house on the driveway circulate between green and purple this time of year. So I've got that going. But we've got this awesome skeleton hand reaching out of the door, begging the kids to come on in to the House of Mystery. We've got those sinister looking eyes up there above. Just a great classic key cover that comes in at number 4 on my list. Okay, number 3 is a recent addition to my collection this year, and if you've watched any of my content in the past, you know I'm a huge Dave Stevens fan, so I couldn't leave out Elvira's House of Mystery number 11. Like I mentioned, I am a huge fan of Dave Stevens, and he is one of the best at drawing the female figure, and I absolutely love Elvira here on this cover, riding the broom here with the moon behind her. This is the giant-sized Halloween Spectacular, and one tidbit of information, if you didn't know, there was actually a redraw of this cover, because in the original that Dave put together, it actually looked like she was straddling the broomstick, and I think the folks at DC weren't really happy with that, so he edited a little bit to make it look like she's kind of sitting side saddle on the broom. But just kind of a little tidbit of information there if you weren't aware. But I absolutely love this, and I was so happy to add this to my collection this year. That's Elvira's House of Mystery number 11 for my number 3 Halloween comic. All right, you heard me say I love Dave Stevens, and that was shown in book number 3. But book number 2 is also a Dave Stevens cover, and that is 3-Dimensional Seduction of the Innocent. This was actually my first introduction to owning a Dave Stevens comic book. This came out in 1985, and I absolutely love this cover, so much so that I'm actually wearing a t-shirt with this design on it. It glows in the dark, absolutely love it. Just so much going on in this picture. We've got the moon behind the character, just like we had on that Elvira book. We've got the bats flying, her witch's hat. You've got the jack-o'-lanterns behind her. And of course, we've got the dead head poking out from the bottom there. Just amazing cover here. Had to have this. I was really close to making this my #1 comic for this list, but #1 is amazing, and we're going to check that out now. All right, now there is so much of a story that could be told regarding this next book, my #1 comic for the Halloween theme here, but there's not enough time for this video to give the full explanation, but this does kind of follow a theme here with women on brooms, and that is my Startling Stories #61 in a CGC 4.0, and this is actually from the Roger Hill collection. Now, the story behind the Roger Hill collection is absolutely amazing. He was a big time person in the horror style comic book realm. Unfortunately, Roger passed away late 2023, and the crazy thing is he lived in the same town as me, and I didn't even know it until after he had passed. I would have loved to take a look at his collection. He actually had the original art for the cover of Black Cat Comics #50. Yes, that Black Cat Comics #50. But I was lucky enough to pick up this Startling Stories #61 from a recent Heritage Auctions auction where they were selling off a large number of comics and other pieces of art and things like that from the Roger Hill collection, and I just knew I had to have one. This one fit exactly in with the types of books that I like, especially regarding like these horror and spooky styles, right? I don't so much go for the gore, but I really love the good girl art style, and I knew that I had to have this one, and I feel very privileged to have this book in my collection. All right, well, that was my top 5 favorite Halloween-themed comic books. Brandon, thanks for inviting me to this event. I know you guys are probably having a blast. I know Halloween is like your favorite celebration of the year, so have a great rest of your evening and a safe Halloween, and we'll catch you guys later.
Thanks, Ryan, again, for sending that clip, showing books. Ryan wanted to make it, but he had some prior commitments, which it happens in life, especially when you have kids and stuff. So yes, we are moving on from spooky season into Thanksgiving and Christmas. Some housekeeping. Guys, I'm over 1,700 subs. I'm almost 2 years in January. If you are just watching this and you are digging my content, what I've been putting out, if you want to subscribe, hit like, it really helps put myself into the algorithm, back into the ether. So I greatly appreciate it. I appreciate everyone hanging out and showing their love and support. And also, I want to congratulate some folks. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone who nominated me for the Comic Book Community Awards. It meant a lot to me to not only be nominated, but to become a finalist. I'd like to thank everyone who voted for me. We didn't win any awards, but just being a finalist was a thrill in the win. I'm going to shout out the other finalists and the winners in my category. Thanks to Brian LCS and the committee for working so hard to put these together, as well as the sponsors who were kind enough to sponsor awards and all that good stuff to make the show happen. We really appreciate it as a community. So let me talk about, I was nominated for favorite channel 1,000 to 5,000 subs. So let me throw up these channels and show you who else I was up against. Some people, great content creators. I was up against Comic Book Canon, of course hosted by Joe and Jeff, Comic Culture, Legion of Comics, and SFawn82. I highly recommend you go out and check out these channels. Mark, who won, congratulations, Mark. You totally deserve it. When I first came into the community, he was always very kind to me, still remains kind to me, will always be there for anyone. Very positive person in our community, and I really appreciate his support. So to even be mentioned next to those other great creators and him who won it is just like, in under 2 years on YouTube, that's a great honor for me. So congratulations to Mark. And then I was also nominated for Best Unboxing from tier 1,000 to 5,000 subs. And those channels included Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, DJ Linx, Rob's Fat Stacks, O-Comics, and Simple Simon. I love these awards because they help me find other great creators. So I looked at all the other categories, watched their channels, but Simple Simon was someone who I hadn't seen before. He's an Aussie, and he is just wonderful. I went and checked out his content. Very nice guy. Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, won. He does a wonderful unboxing. He does great series. So, and all those guys are great. DJ Links, Rob Fat Stacks does Only Slabs, and Simple Side. Like, to be mentioned in those groups, and like, congrats to Alan who won. Like, Alan, another positive person that invited me to the Comic Collectors Club on Biggie Shack's channel when I first started out. Just open arms in the community is a wellspring of knowledge. So to be, in those categories with these people that I've always looked up to is just like mind-blowing. It's just awesome to me, and it was a really great experience. But yes, congrats to Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, and Mark from Legion of Comics. I'll see you guys next year in there. So gang, I've been thinking a lot. This title isn't clickbait when I said I need to change my channel. My goal when I started YouTube was to help people in my situation, maybe in the middle of nowhere, without a close LCS, that didn't have a way to pick up comics other than the internet, and to provide great sellers out there, people you could trust, who had great prices. And I feel, in just under 2 years, I've done that. If you look in the description of every video, I include the list of sellers from Whatnot, Instagram, Facebook, wherever I found them. And I think those are tried and true. And I think at this point, if anyone needed more help to reach out about a buyer, they could reach out to me on Instagram via DM. But I think it's time to change up what this channel does and what it's about. And I've taken a lot of time the past few weeks about what way I'd like to take this and how I could be different from other channels. Unboxings are fun, but they're expensive. I don't have memberships for this channel. I do have super chats available on live streams and stuff, but I'm never going to ask for people to give money. It's always out of the kindness of their hearts. So what I've come up with is the books that I do get in, the newer books, and I will do some for my own collection, but I want to take a deeper dive into sometimes the art, sometimes the story, sometimes both. And I do have 3 books I recently got in from 3 different places. I'll talk about where I got them, and then I want to talk about the books, the years, what's the significance of them, and I want to pop some pictures of the splash pages and art up on here. I want to be more of an educational channel going forward. I want to put in the time and do the research because I like to learn, and if you like to learn a little bit of something and follow along on the history of these comics, I'm a big history guy, especially in the world of comics. Please, I ask you to hang out and give it a shot. If it's not your kind of content, I understand, but I just wanted to do something different with my channel that I enjoyed doing and that I thought people might be into hearing about. I watch Comic Tropes a lot. He's just one of the biggest, if not the biggest, comic book YouTubers, I think, and he does wonderful breakdowns, about comics and history and different things, characters, and I really admire that. So I want to do something not even close to what he does, but in the similar vein of education and teaching people. So if you want to learn, if you want to dig into these comics and their history, whether they're from the 50s or they're modern, let's do it. So without further ado, what comics do I have? Some of these were used on I think all of them actually used on my Halloween show, but I want to take a deeper dive into them. And while I'm talking, I'm going to put up the pictures that I wanted to show you guys after I show the initial cover picture. So let's check out some cool books. All right, first book is Fantastic Fears #3 from 1953. It's by Feral Publications, and it is a pre-code horror book. Really cool cover. Reminds me of Beetlejuice with the snake heads on there, but really great skull cover. This is beat. It's missing a piece here. It's the spine. It is complete. This is just a really cool cover that I'd never seen before. And again, because of its condition, it was a lot cheaper than if it was, higher grade. These go for much more. I paid under $150 for this. So this is a really cool pre-code horror book that I wanted to add to my collection. So let me get into the book itself for you. First, I'll start out by saying I got this from Collector Supreme via Elite 11 on Instagram. So Elite 11 will host sales, and they'll have different comic sellers on there, and they will go through and you can do claim sales with them and stuff. So Collector Supreme, I bought a couple things from. I was very happy with their customer service. So this book, the writers and artists are unknown, which happen from time to time in Golden Age books. And it's just sometimes they weren't kept. These records weren't kept. It's an anthology of 4 horror stories. The first one you'll see is The Haunted Matador. I haven't read too much of the story, but the artwork from the Golden Age is really intriguing to me. There's some just absolute beautiful art. The bull, the anatomy of the bull, and the matador and stuff. It's a pretty cool layout. I really liked the art in this story. I did not read it yet. Again, this week I'm just going to be focusing on the art that I saw in these books for the Golden Age. And then the next story that comes up is The Zombie's Bride. Don't know why it doesn't have an E in it. The witch doctor recounts the weird story of the zombie's bride. The witch doctor is that little character up in the left there that's opening the story. You see this guy down here on the left has his pistol, 6-gun shooting. You can see the zombies have some holes in them. Really great pre-code horror art. The zombies don't have any eyes. You got the damsel in distress down on the bottom right. Again, this is from 1953, so the story, the talk, it's very dated, but I always look at these as a time capsule into into history and the time they were made. The next story and the anthologies were The Druid's Castle. Really like this. You get a little bit of a bondage on the splash page for this with a woman tied to that stone sacrificial altar, if you will. Got a dog jumping at what's to be a scene's be a stone druid. And when I was talking about, hokey writing, campy writing, bottom right, oh, I've got a jolly sixpence, a jolly sixpence, yippee, I feel good. Like, it's just, from that time. So again, really cool, beautiful splash pages on the pre-code art for these. And then the last one is The Floating Coffin. The ship's name is Sea Monster. The old square rigger waited patiently for the commands of her master. Gently she bobbed on the water and nodded her bows at the winds that would soon carry her to doom. Yeah, old-timey sea captain in the bottom right. It's some guy they first made or someone that got back or just came as a stowaway. But yeah, really cool splash pages. Again, these stories are like, a few pages long. If you read any of the new epitaphs from the Abyss that are like the new EC pre-code horror, the modern printings of them, it's just a little story with maybe a twist at the end, and I dig that. And those books have a more modern twist. These are kind of just dated from the time. So fantastic fears, thanks to Elite 11 and Collector Supreme for hooking me up with this one. It's really cool art. I just had never seen this before. I've seen more Fantastic Fears pop up with some covers that I have recognized, but really cool to add this to my collection for spooky season. All right, the next book was supposed to be a trade, but my buddy who I was going to trade with said the item I was going to trade, his partner wasn't really excited about him bringing it to a house. I was going to trade him a Conan the Barbarian sword because he's a huge Conan fan. He is Son of Crom. Check out his YouTube channel. A really positive new guy on the YouTube scene. I love his energy. And his whole thing was when he first started out, he had a great collection of Silver Age, Amazing Spider-Man, all the way to Modern, and Daredevil, and Hulk, and Thor, and he just had a ton, and he was trading it to get books of his favorite character, which was Conan. And we talked back and forth, and I don't have any Conan books, and I offered the sword, but out of the kindness of his heart, he AOK'd me a Marvel Monsters book, so definitely go check this guy out. He's very cool, very nice. He's out on the West Coast. But what did he send? He sent me something not only right up my alleyway with what I love for comics recently, but something very historically significant in Marvel and Atlas Comics. So he sent me Journey into Mystery 69 from 1961, pre-Thor book here. And what I love about this particular cover is I always get a kick out of the 10-cent bubbles right there. It just shows, you can date books and the time they came out by, their bubble or the corner box, So Journey into Mystery 69 from 1961. This is written by Stan Lee and Larry Lieber. Art by Jack Kirby and Dick Ayers, and also by Steve Ditko on one of the stories, and I'll show you in a second. So this is an anthology. Again, it's got 4 stories, but the first story is a 2-parter, and you can see here I was captured by Gorilla. Guys, I've been into this pre-hero Marvel monsters, what carried, Marvel into the Silver Age when the Fantastic Four hit. So I've really been into the history of this and where these books fit in. Of course, I'm a huge Monsters fan. So I was captured by Gorilla. Part 1, it's just a wonderful splash page, and Part 2 is followed up by an awesome splash page as well. And you can see that Gorilla is probably, part of a whole species of these creatures. But love, Jack Kirby and Ayers. You can see in the bottom left, K&A, Kirby and Ayers. So Kirby's my favorite artist, especially from this time frame, and I just love these splash pages. The next story featured in this is The Iron Giant, which is kind of about a ghost train and some stuff going on there. But again, I love all these splash pages in the anthology because they're just made to catch and grip you. So that is really the second story, you know, because the first story is a two-parter. When Darkness Falls, this was a very short story with a twist on it. And I just, I love it. I think it's a really cool little catchy splash page. And the last story that I didn't actually take a picture of for the splash page and realized that when I was filming the video was Tricky Travel. So I'll add that in a second as the next one. And then this book is historically significant. Here is the cover. I'm sorry for the glare. I love the trade dress. The colors are great. But what's really important with this book is that Timely Comics, you know, what we think of for printing the first issue of Captain America, they changed to Atlas Comics in 1951. And in the early 60s, Marvel Comics was eventually born from this. And this book is the first time, as you can see right here, that we see MC on the cover, meaning Marvel Comics. So this is technically the first time a Marvel Comics book was printed with something on the cover that denotes it was being put out by Marvel Comics. So I thought this was a really cool little piece of history, and I was really grateful to Bjorn for sending this. So yeah, thanks Bjorn. You're a really nice guy. I know you are trying to he was also trying to, besides getting his favorite character, which was Conan, he was trying to downsize his collection. So I want to send him something. I'm going to send him something that's not a comic and not a sword to help him out with his collection. But thanks so much, dude. Journey to Mystery 69, another pre-hero Marvel monster. And the last book I picked up was from a claim sale on Elite 11 again. They were hosting, it was at AtCon, which was a couple months ago, which is a virtual online Comic-Con. It's great. They do a great job. They have different sellers and time slots, and you can tune in throughout the week and find sellers the whole time. It's great. So this came from Tasty Cat Comics, and a really great seller. They're out on the West Coast too. And I was actually watching this claim sale and Spro's Comics, another channel I love. They'll be coming on the Big Five Live next week. I was watching through their YouTube channel, and they were watching the sale too. And I knew I wanted this book for a few reasons. And they were watching me, and I had to snipe it myself. I put in a lower offer, and then someone put in a higher offer, and then I just put in what they were asking for it and sniped, myself out so that no one else could get it, because I really wanted it because it was a really fair price. What am I talking about? Silver Surfer, issue number 3 from 1968. Cover and art by John Buscema and Joe Sinnott, and written by Stan Lee. And of course, this is a square-bound book, and it is the first appearance of the villain Mephisto. So let me show you the splash page on this bad boy. So the splash page doesn't show you Mephisto. It's, the Silver Surfer, the power, and the prize. John Buscema is just a wonderful artist, and you can see down here on the right, Stan Lee and John Buscema, embellished by Joe Sinnott, and the lettering was done by Artie Simic, who did a lot of lettering back then. So big fan of the Silver Surfer, and this is a prime villain for him. And then the first time we see Mephisto in his first appearance is just an awesome picture of him sitting on the throne. You can't see his whole face. And I'm just a huge fan of this. Mephisto is, of course, short for, well, not of course, if you didn't know, it's short for Mephistopheles from the Faust legend. And he is known to be an adversary of not only the Silver Surfer, but Ghost Rider and Spider-Man as well. John Buscema is just a wonderful artist as well. And on this part 2 of it, of a Duel in the Depths for this storyline. I mean, just look at that art. Look at the guy up on the right that's fixated to the caves. He's got his demon minions below him, that really imposing hand up in the air. Just a wonderful, wonderful all-around piece of art. They got this girl on this slab, and Mephisto's saying she's not yet truly mine. I really love it. I'm a horror fan. It was spooky season coming up, and I wanted to get this for the show, but I just wanted this overall to show off the first appearance of Mephisto. So this was, they estimated a grade about a 4.0, and I agreed. It's got a lot of creases down here across the cover, as you can see in the light, but, good looking copy from back here. The colors are important to me. There's no Marvel chipping. It's pretty sharp for a square bound book other than that. So now I do have issue number 3 and number 4. I don't think I'm going after the whole run from Silver Surfer, just, wanted a key appearance, kind of getting back into that. And yeah, so those are the 3 books I just wanted to dive into this week and show you a little more. So guys, I hope people who have been following me and supporting me for this whole time are okay with the change of this channel. I didn't think it would ruffle too many feathers, since I'm just basically educating people deeper on the books I'm getting, as opposed to just showing you a cover and telling you the seller I got it from. I think it's going to be a lot of fun getting in books that I want to learn more about, but also diving into the books behind me and in my short boxes and taking people through deeper dives into comics. And I really hope you'll follow along with me. I really appreciate it. I love commenting with people. Tell me, guys, what you think about the art in those books. Which one of your books had the favorite art? Are you guys down with the golden age art, or the more kind of curated silver age art that Kirby and Buscema brought? Let me know down in the comments. Next week, Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Big 5 Live, I've got I like to call it dueling creators, if you will. It's 2 teams of creators that are on one channel. So I've got Spro's Comics and his father-in-law, Mr. Longbox, who do a wonderful comic talk podcast on Mondays. And then I've got JP and Rohan that comprise the Absolute Game of Nerds podcast. So those guys work together, or YouTube channel, I should say. Podcast, YouTube channel. I listen to it all. So those guys together will come on and show some awesome books. And I've also got another announcement next week about something that I've decided not to pursue anymore. And I want to get some folks' feelings on that. So I hope everyone had a great spooky season. I appreciate you coming to hang out with me yet again. I hope you guys want to learn some stuff along the way. And until next time, keep reading those comics.